Hi everyone, welcome to the Shuffle Podcast, another episode, number 19. We got Ciara Castro today joining us. Hello Ciara, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you? Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. I'm good, thank you. Okay, so a lot of things to talk about today, a lot of things. So we'll start with things a little bit more about you rather than the things that just happened that many people is like, hey, we want to talk about the tournament. We want to hear about everything that
Yeah.
happened. But first off, maybe there's people who don't know who you are outside the US or that environment. So a little bit about yourself. How did you get into shuffling? Where are you from? So who are you?
Hey everyone. Like I said, happy to be here. Thanks for having me on. I listen to the podcast all the time. My name is Ciara Castro. I am based out of Texas in the United States. Born and raised here. I'm still here. I travel frequently, but I'm always coming back to Texas. I am 26. I've been shuffling for about 7 years now, and I started dancing while I was in college. I've done mostly cheer and sports in general growing up. So I've always felt like I've been involved in a team sport and also individual sports, but I just have always I've enjoyed being in high pressure environments and working towards a goal, really. So I'm used to that. And then in college, I went to college for my business marketing degree and have always kind of worked in social media management, started off doing internships there. And so that's really where content creation, I got really comfortable with that, both with myself and under a lot of small businesses. That's really what I worked under a lot. And then graduated college and COVID happened. So between everything, I sort of stepped into my power per se, and I started to look at my strengths and leaned into them. And, social media came about, but shuffling for me has always been there. It's going to always be there. I enjoy all styles, of course. And yeah, shuffling, the second I found it about 7 years ago, I found it through raving, and it's just stuck with me since. I love it so much, and I'm still shuffling today, enjoying it in all aspects. I like being on stages. I like performing. I like battling. It's made me uncomfortable, which we want to be in our comfort zone, right? And it's challenged me. And then in all ways, I just love the dance so much. So that's me.
So you got as you said, all the social media background from university, and was this like the first content you had with more like a professional approach to content creation, or you already had like some thoughts of it, or you were already posting things and this helped you, or what things did you get from university? Because I hear so many people that say that most careers about these new technologies and social media things are very are not updated at all for some things. But what was your experience? What's your take on that?
So as far as social media, I feel like I got into it when I was really young, starting with MySpace. As a kid, it also, context helps. I moved around a lot as a kid, so I feel like I really plugged into arts. I was always in my room playing the piano. I was drawing, I was painting, or I was on MySpace creating videos for YouTube, different things. And so that kind of grew. I've always kind of been comfortable with social media. I always had the app. I was the first one to probably download one of the apps when they came out. So when I got to college, getting into marketing was made sense for me. My marketing degree helped me out. It's supported me as far as, maybe knowing logistics and knowing the admin side of social media. My favorite class in college was consumer behavior, and that really shines light just on, behavioral patterns and the psychology behind people on social media. But I think in general, my relationship with social media has been very fun all my life. I've always had a playful approach, and I always try to remind myself vulnerability is fine. Social media can be scary. And I will say the followers started growing more in 2019. And I was already posting videos, to answer your question. I was already posting shuffle videos in my driveway, not thinking so much about the end goal of the content. It just happened to work at that time. And it was a formula between my talent picking up. So, people enjoyed watching my videos, it was also a mix between I was making organic videos for artists and they were reposting me at the time. And, you know, this was before we found sort of a system between artists and dancers, and we still are in a sense today. But all of it was really organic, and slowly my numbers started growing. I will say Movement 2019, I think, sort of shifted things, Movement Festival in Detroit, because I met some people, and I remember that's when I hit 10,000 followers when I got back from that festival. So that was pretty cool. And one thing led to another between Instagram Reels and making more video. We got a little bit of followers there, but I think I've always made the videos for sure, for fun. So.
Yeah, like I can resonate with that part. Like you start making videos because you just wanna share, you just like dance and you want your friends, or just because you wanna share them, you know, like it's like a part of you. And then at some point you see that it starts like growing and growing. And now that you said it, like that, I don't know why the 10K, I probably because how it's displayed on Instagram and in other socials, it's like you go from having 4 numbers to a letter like a K, or you know, so having the K is like it's just like having 9,900 and 10,000. It's only like 100 people difference, but visually or mentally it's like, oh, hey, I got here, you know. It's like when you get like 100,000 on YouTube, that is like, oh, you get the, you know, like the silver plate and this kind of thing. So they're kind of like landmarks that people wanna get there, and it's like something, oh, I hit this.
Right.
So yeah, like I feel this part too, that is, it shifts to something more serious when you just start seeing that the videos you post start having an effect on people, like in the community, on how then certain people behave in real life, or how people then shift to start dancing one way or the other, or just talking about things that are being posted. Like if you don't experience this, you probably will never understand like the power of social media, because once you understand this and live this like in person or in real life, that you see that things that you do on the internet and any social, it doesn't matter which one it is, and then it has an impact, whether it's huge or small impact, then it's where you say, oh, that's a powerful tool. And as you said, social media can be very scary if not managed well. And
exactly,
if you use social media for what they were designed, it's kind of sad and bad, because they're just designed to keep you on the screen all day, not do anything rather than just scroll. And now with all the short form, just scroll. They just want to keep you there. And yes, you gotta be a little bit grounded about what do social media want from you, and know that, and try to manage this aspect and have the control on, hey, I want to spend time on social media, but the time I'll choose to spend, not whatever, because it's kind of dangerous. So and it's like a rabbit hole, because you start posting, or you want to post more, and maybe you're getting followers, but if you're trying to, you know, try to make a living out of this, or try to have some part of business going with the content you post, if you don't use it mostly for business, you're gonna get lost in this, like you're gonna get down the rabbit hole and difficult to get out. So I heard this from a lot of people that do a lot of business in social media. They say that if you use the social media for the business side, it's incredible, because it's full of people that are there just consuming. And if you're someone who provides content, then it's good for you. But if you also fall in the rabbit hole of consuming nonstop, it's a never-ending thing. So
it really is. Social media, I've learned, it's a relationship that has to be managed, like you said, and it's important to stay in charge of it for sure. I think I kind of learned that balance even back to college. I mean, I was managing about 25 small businesses at one time, amongst many other little accounts. So When it came to mine, like I said, I think 2019, 2020 is when I went full in for Ciara for myself. But woo, it can take you. It's like you either consume or create, especially with all the ever changing things with the algorithm and all the apps. I mean, yeah, it's a full time job. It can be. And it's very important to stay on top of it and in charge of that relationship. Otherwise, you can get lost in the sauce. But yeah, we're doing okay so far. Yeah, we're doing okay.
Yeah, and sometimes it's difficult to do both, you know, like at some point, depending on the type of content we create or we consume, because in our case, we create dancing content or dance related content, but I also consume a lot of different content that is not dance related or is just entertainment or other type of dance content or whatever thing. So yeah, like for example, I just had like it wasn't like a very long break. I thought it was going to be longer, but there was like 2 weeks that I didn't let myself go on Instagram because I was just seeing like non-stop things that were make me have a really bad time when I was on the app.
Yeah.
So I just said, okay, stop. And whenever you feel that genuinely you wanna go on Instagram or post something or just feel like don't already go on Instagram in a bad mood or in the wrong way, then this will be like a good sign that you're ready to handle the social media again. But when you're like if you're having like a hard time or you're mentally a little bit off, social media just takes over you, and and it's just yeah, it's hard if you don't have the head to say, okay, let's put a stop here and see what's happening.
Right.
So because I see so many people that they shouldn't be that much time on social media because it consumes them, and you see that it consumes them, and you just see them that they aren't even aware of what's happening there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's fleeting. It can get you.
Have you ever had a break, or you did like a social media detox or something like that, or never?
Honestly, I don't think I've taken a break where I've deleted the app or stepped away from it. Um, I have just not posted maybe a day or two, or well, longer than that for sure. But going back to the feelings behind logging on, I agree. I try my best to just like not post or engage if I just sincerely don't feel like it. And I'm totally okay with that. I'm just okay with what I'm feeling and taking the pressure off having to do things daily or always needing to show up on there. I think I've really taken the pressure off. Also, notifications. My notifications have been off on my phone from text, from every single app for about 3 years now. And when I did that, it's been phenomenal. So just really taking control of my time. And like I said, sometimes I'm not consuming at all. That's also another thing. If I just need to do what I need to do, and I just won't consume as much. But then maybe I'll take the time when I'm in the mood, and I'll go directly to my friends' pages because the algorithm is weird anyways. You don't even see the people you want to see all the time. So I'll have my moments where I get on and find my friends and see what's going on. But for the most part, my relationship with social media has definitely changed a lot. But I take the pressure off, and I feel a lot better these days. Mm-hmm.
So I also had notifications off from Instagram, like all notifications. And then I also had messaging off, but I kind of missed some important messages or that I was answering quite late. And I said, okay, I gotta keep my, like at least my WhatsApp notifications. Also in WhatsApp, I have muted a lot of conversations or groups that I know the messages aren't important, so I won't get notified.
Yes.
But yeah, I really try to keep them like for, you know, or family or close friends or work stuff that I need to be answering. If I see it and it needs like a fast answer, I need to be there to see what's happening or to give or whatever they're asking. So it definitely gives you control of your time, as you said. If you experience like you're having a hard time disconnecting because the phone is all the time like cling cling with all the notifications, it's just and it's like a dopamine hit. Like every
Yeah.
notification is like, ding, hey, you're important. Someone is telling you something, and you're like, oh yes, I'm important. And the more notifications you get, the better. And you're like, just feel excited. Oh, I have this off. Oh, let's turn it on. So I get like more excited more often. But then it's hard to concentrate. It's hard to do things that require to spend a lot of time doing without, at least with less outputs that stress you or that just distract you. Some like when I just don't want anything, I just plane mode and like I throw the phone and I put it in a place where I can't. No, I don't throw it literally, but I put it in a place where I can't reach it from my desk or. And I find myself so many times that you're doing something, you just stop, and then I like kind of want to grab the phone, but then I know it's on plane mode, and I say like, why do I want to grab the phone? Is there something I want to consult or watch? And it's like, no. And then but it's like, it's automatic.
It's so habitual. It's funny. I've caught my hand just reaching for the phone. It's crazy, but yeah.
So yeah, social media, a big thing and important to manage. Okay, let's get into the business. FTS just happened.
Yes, I know. That was
crazy.
The
winner here. We got the winner here.
Woo, 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 woo.
Okay,
great.
So for the ones who don't know, FTS Shufflers just hosted a competition in LA this past August 20th. It's like 1 week almost since it happened, and there was many people. They had like a online preliminary stage, and then a top 32 battles were taking place in person. So I want to ask you various like different things from the whole experience. So we'll go like chronologically. Okay. So first off,
sure.
When you hear there's this competition, what comes to your mind? Like any type of training, preparation, or like what's the first thoughts you get?
When I think of battling in general and that environment, it's a competition. And I've been in competitions in the past. Like I said, been in that environment and I love it. Have not approached that in shuffling yet. So I knew it would be a high pressure environment and so much more different than anything I've ever experienced. And maybe that's also why it took me a little bit to do it. We've had a few battle things going on in the US, and, you know, I've talked to my great friends on the side and been encouraged and supported. And I just think I was waiting on my own timeline to get there. But preparation wise, it was a lot of mental. If I could sum up my whole experience, most of my preparation for FTS was mental. I think I could have prepared a lot better physically, but I immediately, you know, reached out to mentors, looked at videos, did what I could. I've always kind of been plugged in as a student as far as just learning about things, and I'm on YouTube a lot. I tap into my resources frequently. I just think mentally I was preparing a lot.
So when you say you prepare mentally, when there's like no battle practice, because the best, like there's no environment like battling. If you want to practice being on the dance floor in a battle, you just got to go to a battle, because the environment, you can't recreate, because there's like the pressure, you know, it's that moment, it's like game time, it's not practice time. So like when you say that you were being prepared mentally, aside, like, do you do something specific aside from watching all the battles or talking with people, like things like picturing yourself, or just like do other situations where there's a lot of people watching or involved? Do they help you somehow, or they give you some kind of thought that might help you overcome this this situation that is, because it's mentally it's a bit stressing at the beginning. If you never battled, the first time you go, you're like, wow, so many people watching and it's my turn.
Yeah, I'm like getting nervous thinking about it. And that's the thing. When I was preparing, I remember feeling the pressure starting to set in. So when I'm talking about mentally, I think for me, I was realizing that the pressure that I was feeling, first of all, everyone was feeling it. And that's when I realized if we're all feeling it, then who's going to take the pressure off themselves? And also just realizing that that could make or break you. And so one of the final thoughts that I had, if I'm being really honest, is I remember thinking, you know, I don't want to go home tonight and look back on this experience and realize that I held back because I was nervous or felt constricted in my flow or I was thinking about something else. I wanted to make sure that I was fully there and present, and whatever happens, happens. And, you know, the best outcome happened. And I can't say that I went in expecting that, honestly. I was thinking, you know, maybe top 10. And then it got closer and my support system was kind of like juicing me up and hyping me up and giving me love. And I was like, okay, maybe top 5. And then we got a little closer and I started to have more people believe in me maybe than I did. And that was a huge reflection. I was like, wow, you know, I want to get a little bit, I just want to be a little bit more confident, maybe. Maybe I could use a better word because I'm pretty confident, but I just wanted to step into myself more. So like I said, then I started reaching out to mentors, asking for advice. I was like, if you guys could give me one last piece of advice, what would you say? And even Matt from the DMV area, something simple that he told me that just really stuck with me. He just said, take it one battle at a time. And I thought about that and I was like, you're right, you know? So if I could just individualize my moments and take it step by step, that also really helped me. It helped me move slower. So a lot of thinking. And I was also thinking about my purpose and my why. I think that, you know, I took it back to my family. That's why I dance. And I thought about my grandma specifically when I was doing these rounds. And when my purpose is bigger than most things that I care about, yeah, it made it easier for me. So mentally on that end, but also physically, I was just seshing a lot. I was getting in some running mans and some T-steps, just picking up my stamina, just sweating and running. I love doing that. Sometimes my sessions are fully running mans. And then also just practicing what I really do in my own flow, but maybe just changing things up, changing directions, changing speeds. Once again, moving a little slower, dancing to different types of music, getting outside my comfort zone in my own sessions. And then, you know, took that to the battlegrounds. There was a little strategy, of course. And so I practiced a few concepts. But besides that, I have to say most of it was my flow and just, I was really in my head in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Which concepts did you practice, or
so
how was this part?
You know, I was practicing, I didn't even pull it out now that I think about it, but I was practicing with having a machine in my hand. And I was gonna like pull it out, swirl it, throw it behind my back. You know, I was trying to create a story, maybe starting at the floor with my feet. My feet were like magnets. And then I was going to carry it up to my hips and then like take it to my head. Things like that. I think I tried to pull that out in one way, but I don't know. Adrenaline was going so high. I think about it and I'm like,
those kind of things.
Yeah.
You know, storytelling, it's something that not many people do in shuffling right now. And depending on the type of story you wanna tell, for example, you're saying starting like if your feet were magnets, you really gotta have a huge control over textures and have fully control, because if you wanna replicate, like if your feet gets up and it gets like back to the floor because it's a magnet, you gotta get the tempos and the energy right and when to do a push of energy.
Right.
So like all the details, it's control, it's body control. So
it's tough. For sure. It's a lot of control. And then your control, it has to become even more when you get tired, because when you get tired, you need to just squeeze or think about how you're controlling your muscles. And so a lot of things come into play in that situation, but tried my best, did what I could and what I thought how to prepare. And yeah, that's kind of where I sat. A lot of mental, like I said, put in a little physical work and did what I could as far as coming up with a few ideas with what I could take to the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about the thing you said, one battle at a time. I think that's super true. I've seen different people losing in very early rounds because they're thinking in the next ones, and oh, I'm saving some energy. It's not that you don't have to save energy, but you gotta train to have the energy for all the rounds. So it's not all about energy management. If you have very low energy and stamina because you haven't trained that much, it doesn't matter how good you manage your energy throughout the rounds, because there's someone that will have trained to have high stamina in every round, and it doesn't matter how you manage your energy, that this person is going to have more energy than you. And if this person usually pulls out high round levels, like high level rounds, he has more chances. It doesn't mean that this person is going to win always, but the chances and the odds will be more in this person's favor. So it all comes to preparation and one battle at a time. Like if you just are battling and you're worried I don't want to waste that much energy because if I win I have another one, and I'm battling this other person and I need energy for this one. You're thinking the next one and you don't know if you're getting through this one, the one you're right now.
Absolutely.
So you just gotta focus on right now, do the best round you can, and then we'll see what happens. But all this previous work, you gotta mentally understand how the tournament is going to go through, and if you have chances to go through several rounds, you gotta plan. If this happens, how am I going to be prepared? Previous trainings or things that you eat, or resting the night before, or not drinking too much like the last days, or even more time, because it will make the quality of your sleep go down a lot when you when you drink. So there's so many things that come into play. It's not only what you do this day, it's also how have you managed everything in the previous and on that day too. So this thing of 1 hour at a time, it's the best. It's how you need to approach these moments.
I agree. It was a very solid piece of advice, and I can truly say I was not looking ahead, and nor was I looking back. And I realized that helped me a lot. Also, leading up to the battle, I feel like I was on chill mode for sure. I even was a little quiet, dare I say. It was just, I was really in here and slowly tapping in. I was calling my grandma. I was talking to my mom. I wasn't talking to much people besides my family before the days. And then when I got to Los Angeles, I rested at my friend's house and I didn't do anything. We just had a good dinner. We stretched. I took a good bath, and the morning of the battle, same thing. So I really took it easy, and I think all my energy was exerted at the battles. So it was good. Yeah. And preparation's key for sure.
Before getting a little bit more into specifics about the dance battle in person, the online phase, it was. Did you get another time to go to an online phase too? Was it the first time? And like, what were your thoughts after the online phase? I know you were the person who got the most points out of the 2 rounds also. So how was what's your take on online phases in general? Not only for like complete online tournaments, but also having online phases in something that is going to end in person.
I think that there's a better way to do it. I don't think it's equal to battles for sure. Clearly, we hear the song beforehand, and there's some advantages to that. But I also understand with were figuring things out and trying different things. But I knew myself, speaking for myself, I knew that wasn't the real deal. So in the online selections, I went up against someone like Laughs in round 2, powerhouse guy. And we ended up getting matched up in the bracket. And I was excited for it because I knew that was an opportunity to see how it really is. I wanted his energy in person, something like that. I did end up being seated number 1, which was really cool. And it taught me a lot on, score sheets, which I think is an overall learning experience for everyone. Again, I think that's what that can help, is have us sort of look at the score sheets and look at our dance, since this was the first battle for a lot of people. So it was nice to kind of look at the breakdown of things in very much black and white. But those online rounds, those were freestyles for me, for sure. I wanted to, not that, I owe anyone that explanation or anyone needs to explain, but I understand that could have been fully choreographed. I listened to the song maybe like 10 times, which is an advantage, in my headphones, and then I went outside and freestyled. I filmed each online video. My first
10
round.
10 times after go filming.
Yeah. Honestly, I joined the tournament a little late, but the first round, I listened to the song maybe 10 or 12 times, and then I went outside and I filmed 3 times. I submitted. Out of those 3, I was just like, lock it in, believe in your dance. And then the second one...
Freestyle. Listening 10, 12
yes.
times before recording 3.
Yes. Well, I'm crazy with the 8 counts, though. So coming from my cheer background, I've created a lot of cheer routines. So this is good context. In the cheer world that I was in, I used to choreograph. So I would create 2.5-minute routines of a team upward from 10 to 30 girls. And so the way that I see numbers, and even in my head, when I listen to music, the numbers kind of like come out in my head as I hear the music. So if I hear like a triple beat or I can anticipate something coming, I'll just remember it. And so that's something that I really, I use that a lot. The second round, same thing. It was a great song. I remember, going up against Labs, and I was jamming that song for like 2 days, maybe, like not too much. I didn't want to overhear it in my head, but just enough to where it was just, I got to that sweet spot that I was vibing with it. And I know that if I over listen to a song, it might just get a little, like mushy in my head, I guess. So I listened to it enough to where it was just like really vibing in my heart. And as soon as I felt fired up, I just went outside and filmed two rounds. I filmed 2 videos for the second online selection, and I submitted my second filmed video. And that was good. I think something that I'm good at is round structure as well. I loop out a lot of my dances, and that just comes from maybe my cheer background as well. So I just loop things out really well as far as like choreographing and ending a routine, starting and ending a routine. So that probably helped me a lot. And I know it helped me in the battles as well, just having like crowd control and interacting with everyone. So if that makes sense. Yeah,
different things here. So I don't know, in you, like by the way you said it, it looks like it has happened to you. But to me, if I dance to a song 1 time or 2 times, let's say, just like the next time I dance to it, it's not, I feel that I'm thinking more and existing less. So I'm more in my imagination of what do I want my round to look like, rather than being present and create and pay attention to my body and what's following next, like just, it's like when also you said, I wanted to touch on this too, like you said the thing about predicting sounds that they're going to come back. There's so many things you can learn from music structure and understand the behavior of a lot of instruments and how they behave with compared to other instruments or in the whole drop. So you can anticipate easily when are they coming back, even though it's the first time you listen to one song. If you have a lot of patterning internalized and you just are fast to recognize them, you can predict so many things. So what happens to me so many times is that I listen to a song, and if I want to dance to it a second time, my head is just thinking in all the things that are going to come in order. So me knowing a lot of things that are going to come is going to make my round very different and less organic sometimes, because it's inevitable that you're going to be thinking on the things that are coming next. If you are able to identify them, you're thinking about what's coming next, because you want to adapt to what's happening. You don't want to do the same moves and the same things for different songs, and you just can change the music and feel like it's the same round. You want to create something for this song, for this specific song. So it happens to me that if I want to dance to a song 2 times in a row or 3 times in a row, every time I feel worse with the round I pulled out. So most of the times the first round is usually the one I feel the better. Sometimes you can do a better round, but in terms of connection with the song, unless you were not concentrated at all, usually the first one is always the best one, at least for me. I don't know how this works on your side.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. So I think that's that balance that I was looking for. Like, I didn't want to over listen to the song, nor did I want to dance to it, knowing that that wasn't the session I was going to take a video from, if that makes sense. Like, when I was submitting my video, I knew that I was going outside to film it, and that was it. And I think it's important for me, and me just knowing me, I know that I just need to tap in. So once again, if I'm going outside about to film this video for FTS, do I feel like doing it? Of course. So I'm going to go do it. If I didn't feel like dancing at the moment, then I'm going to wait another day. But just making sure like I'm tapped in at that moment, I feel good. That way I can just get my video. Because I agree, I'm not looking to dance, definitely not more than 3 times or 2 times. Even with content creation in general, I don't like to spend much time at all doing that stuff. It should be really fast and organic. And with those FTS videos, it was more about proving, all of this has really been about proving to myself that I can do this. So when it came even to the online selections, I wanted for me to just submit what I put out right away. And I'm a choreographer, most people are, but I just didn't do that, obviously. I just wanted to trust in my dance and see what happened. And it came out okay. So
you can see
I was happy about it.
You can see when it's choreographed, 100%. Like, it's so easy to tell. It's so easy to tell.
Yeah.
And like you also mentioned the scorecards before. I had some problems with the scorecards, like not because the points I got, but like in general, I was just seeing so many things not adding up, like not the same criteria for everyone, or people just getting 10s in certain aspects, and other people who were way better in this aspect getting like 5, 6. Like I was just seeing like so many things that were unbalanced. So I don't know if you also seeing that like all the scorecards thought something similar, or like what were your conclusions or things you were taking away from seeing the scorecards, because there was so many points and so many categories that we can tap in something about it later if you want. But like, what was your take?
Yeah, for me, I think I just kept my eyes and ears open through the whole experience. So I was kind of seeing what everyone thought as a collective. I thought your opinions were great and totally valid and make sense. And for me, I'm not going to lie, I think I was really focused on like myself and what I was looking at. I looked at a lot of other people's videos, but I wanted to just stay a little tuned in. But I saw the scorecards. I think I had the same questions everyone else had. And I was just waiting for more explanations from the judges. Some did come out with that. And I was in the same boat as most people. So like I said, I just had my eyes and ears open, also trying to learn from the experience. As far as how it was being judged, I was looking at the scorecards myself with my own videos. And I was getting an idea basically for what the judges might have liked or not liked. So, I mean, I can't say I was surprised I was first as far as the numbers go. But I was like, oh, okay, so, this might be what they're looking for. But like I said, I think I had the same questions and concerns as everyone else.
And
Because
what questions were the things?
I think shuffling goes, well, we know like shuffling goes beyond, your running man and your T step. That was one for me. And there's just so many ways that you can grow off the pivot and how that pivot maybe can show in musicality or, what is musicality? What is energy? Things like that. So yeah, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in some
Kind of.
points,
Yeah.
yeah. For someone who never started dancing in general, not shuffling, but dance in general, is going to be hard to explain musicality, because sometimes it's not only about hitting instruments, because I saw many rounds that the song had something every eight, and like every eight counts there was a sound or something happening, and I was seeing people just every eight counts, boom and boom and boom and things like that. That it's you see the video and oh yeah, they're going to the sounds, boom 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 pararam, boom 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 pararam, and you feel like oh it's hitting everything, but there's most of the times there's way more things rather than only the beat, like the kick drum and this thing happening in the eight counts. And when you see someone repeating all that, even though it's hitting so many things, if it's the same pattern all the time, when you have developed a better criteria as a judge or just as a dancer, that you know a lot more things about musicality, you just feel that it's okay, but it's repetitive or it's not enough, and I started seeing to things like this, but in the other aspects too, that maybe I thought, oh, okay, that's maybe good. That's maybe 6.5, 7 max. And you're seeing 9 on 10s, and I was like, what's happening here? I see other people doing different things and like being more versatile and executing right, and they're getting less points. So you just start wondering what's happening,
Right.
So
And then even
yeah.
categories maybe like style and creativity can be subjective. So I had questions behind that personally. Like, what does style mean to you? What's going to get that one style judge to like my style? Or what's going to tell this, especially having one person behind that category. So those are things for me.
You want my honest opinion?
Of course I do.
So for some styles, like for some criterias, first of all, there was too many. 7, it's too much. And some of them shouldn't be there because it's something that it shouldn't be judged in a shuffle / freestyle shuffle competition. Yeah. Because, for example, you had the showmanship category. That's not a show. That is battling, So why should you judge showmanship in a dance battle? Because it's not a show, It's a battle, and
Right.
like why? And I read the descriptions and it said something something like this, like the way you interact with the audience and the viewer, and it's like it's not important. Like if you interact with someone, okay, that's good, but it shouldn't be something that is going to be something that is going to make a huge difference in your scorecards and make you win or lose or qualify or not qualify. And then Also, there was categories. Let's say like all the categories should be in, or okay, we're going to take them into consideration for this. Foundation does not have the same weight than showmanship or style. For me, these two categories, showmanship and style, and some other more, like I would cut many more of them, but it doesn't have the same weight. It doesn't, at least to me, it doesn't make any sense that foundation or musicality or creativity rank like maximum 10, and then showmanship and style or energy can also go up to 10. Because if you are low foundation but high showmanship, high score showmanship, are you going to get more points than someone that has a little bit more foundation and a little bit less showmanship? So there's some things that you can lose by scoring a little bit low on showmanship, style or energy, or things that are not that core important, while in the core elements you just nailed it. And you can lose battles, and it can happen, and I've seen people losing battles for these kind of things. So I know, like, all of this I'm saying, like, I'm not trying to like be negative about it. It's just something that I've been in a lot of shuffle battles, and just having it like this from the first second, I was saying this is going to cause problems, and it's going to mess with people's minds, and also with the perception of how should dance be judged. Because if you want to have a lot of categories, there's way more categories that you can, like, you want to score more things, there's way more things you can score. And if you want to have some criterias, then this is up to every judge. So if someone wants to judge or give more importance to musicality or to technique or to the foundation, like, there's things that every judge should take into account. Like, if there's any judge that doesn't take into account foundation, then it shouldn't be a judge, because it's not giving the importance to the things that are important. So
I can agree on that. Yeah, definitely.
So you kind of also have to educate the judges, not as the organization. As an organization, you just got to make sure you bring the right judges, and the judges that can score or decide in anything they get on the dance floor. So if someone dances faster or slower or more leans toward one style or to another sub-style of shuffling, they should be able to value everything no matter what. If not, they're not prepared yet. I'm talking about big competitions, because I take the FTS it was a big competition.
Right.
So if you can have more smaller competitions, that is also a good place for judges for people who want to be judging, to have this practice or to have this experience. So then they can also be more confident, because the first time I judged and now there's like a huge difference. At the beginning, I was just also going a little bit more with my intuition. I wasn't that technical. But if you want to improve as a judge, you need to study the style nonstop. You need to be watching battles, analyzing rounds from battles and not battles. Just try to break down as many things as you can, and just seeing something and say, see 2 seconds, and be able to say 5-10 things about 2 seconds. Can you tell 5-10 things about these seconds? Like, if not, maybe you lack information. And it's funny because sometimes people tell me, I don't know how to judge. Like, I wouldn't know how to judge. I would just go with my gut, And I tell them, well, that's because you've never sat and thought, okay, how can I judge this, or how can I break things down so I can evaluate fairly and not only go with the gut. You can go with your gut, but you gotta be objective somehow. Your gut is something that it will create an emotion on you, but when you're judging, you need to handle your emotion and try to judge as objective as you can within all the knowledge you have. And it was funny because I just see someone doing 2 steps and I tell them, okay, what I saw in these 2 steps is this, like, and I start telling them things and they're like, bro, like, I just see pom pom, you know, like move. And this comes with a lot of practice, a lot of intention, in looking with intention, trying to find everything, and also layer the things, layer the steps. So you need to have been a lot of time in with yourself or with more people, just dancing and trying to understand how to break down all the steps layer by layer and understand all the layers that you can find in a step. It's not that all the layers create the step, but doing the step, you can break it down into so many things. So when you see just like little tweaks, this is something that you can evaluate over the other dancers. So there's just so many things. So when I just see a closed criteria set, to me it's like, whoa, like you're closing so many doors for evaluation. And also, like, I'll shut up now. I'm talking too much about this.
No, this is good. This is good. It's good conversation. I know that, speaking for myself and also a lot of people, it was just a huge learning experience. And, you know, this is only the beginning, I would say, here. And, you know, we had those experiences with Chelsea and the battles in Wisconsin last year. That was a huge learning experience too. It was very much different than what this was. And then, yeah, there's so much learning to do. I mean, I agree with pretty much everything. And I think that's why these conversations are important. So
yeah. And I also was thinking, when you're a judge, you know, and imagine you have a criteria set to you, you're going to musicality. And then you're judging and you see so many things happening about, for example, storytelling. Imagine the musicality judge is seeing and catching your magnet things, this concept, but he's unable to vote for this because he's judging musicality, and there's no judge for storytelling. So what's happening here? Like, does it fall under creativity? Probably yes, but all the things that are outside of the criteria, do they all fall under creativity? So it's hard. It's hard to find have a criteria set for everything, because sometimes what people is going to do is unpredictable and you don't know what's everybody going to do in every round. So there's not a list of moves that they're going to execute, and you know all the things that they are going to do, and you can prepare for that. Sometimes it's just the moment, and I think judges would need to be able to judge and base their decision off whatever they can catch in that moment, whether it's foundation, musicality, creativity, the use of concepts, whatever, punchlines, doesn't matter. Like, how do you interact with the environment? How do you project yourself? All those are things that are going to speak and build your character when you're dancing. So I just wouldn't say you need to evaluate everything, like every little thing, but the decision in a battle will always come with what's this dancer doing versus what's the other dancer doing. So it's not, sometimes a dancer will do 3 or 4 things and the other dancer will do 3 or 4 completely different things, and you need to be able to have this in a balance and see which ones weight more, you know? Or I was also telling that to a friend the other day that was asking me, if I see both dancers have good foundation, I'm not going to base my decision out of foundation because both got it right. So I just go to another thing, you know? So if this happens, why would you have a judge vote for someone foundation, this one or this one, if they both got it right? Like, if they both have strong foundations, why you should base one vote on this? If they both got it right, probably they're going to do more things that can trigger judges like perception or mind, or they're there for this, you know, like they need to be prepared.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's also why it's challenging to be a judge, and even more when it's high level competitions. It's not easy, but it also comes with there's so many things like we could do like so many hours podcast, infinite hour podcast about talking about judging and everything. Like aside from FTS things, like I know everything, it's a learning process. The first times when we were doing tournaments, we also had so many mistakes, or in judging or in other organizational stuff, and you just keep learning, you know. I just feel that people don't talk that much about this stuff. Like in between organizations, there should be more conversations. And when there's people that has organized a lot, they just, I don't know, like for example, me or Shuflis or Shuffle Showcase, we hosted so many competitions. I feel like we're not getting that much questions about, hey, how can we host better, or hey, which mistakes did you make that we can avoid, you know, because we've done a lot of mistakes, so many mistakes, and we got some people that ask that, but I feel like more people should be coming and asking us or whoever is organizing things, you know. There's more people organizing things, because we can grow faster, because we're just sharing the lessons and making the community grow faster.
I agree. I think that, let's say that right here, right now, I think collaborating is very important across the board. And that was also, I guess, to like piggyback off you, that was also a little conversation on the side that I know I heard a little bit, that, you know, moving forward in the future, collaborating more is good for everyone. Period.
That's it.
Period.
Okay. Let's do the last part of FTS, and then we'll move forward to other topics. So the in-person experience about FTS, how was the experience overall? Like, how much would you rate it, 1 to 10? And then what things did you like the most that other people can say, hey, this was good in this competition or this organization, we're going to do it too? And what things do you think it can be improved the most?
For sure. Speaking from my experience, like I said, this was my first in-person battles participating, so I don't have that much experience with that under my belt. I've been to a few jams in the battle culture, and then I participated in the Wisconsin battles. From this battle specifically, I think that the good things is, I think that it felt really underground, and someone on the flip side can even say, so it felt very underground. That was nice. Mm-hmm. It was a black room, the lights were nice, and it was good. On the flip side, it was hard to hear the music a little bit, just because there was noise complaints, I believe. So I personally just didn't feel like I got to tap in as much as I would have liked. So I think I relied more on just putting out moves underneath me. So I wasn't fully tapped in. So it was hard to hear the music. It wasn't compressed as much, so I couldn't hear those nuances like I would have liked. The floor, it was very hot. But to me, I was like, this is underground. Like, I feel very warrior. I feel warrior mentality. It's hot. I'm sweating. I'm in my zone. But on the flip side, I also, I felt kind of sick after. I think I was really exhausted. So I think that was a mix between just being tired and it was just also pretty hot. Logistically, I think time management is important. Being on time, respecting everyone else's time. And I think that's where my head is at. Yeah.
Like, was someone late? I don't know. I don't know anything. So, who were late? Like people from the organization, or just attendance, or dancers?
Both.
Everyone.
Both. Yeah. Both. The event started, sorry if I'm wrong, I believe the event started an hour and a half behind scheduled time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have some people traveling from across the U.S. I came from Texas, the middle of the U.S., but, just little things like that. I wouldn't start a shuffle class late, nor would I try and do a shuffle class over time that I commit to. So just trying to be on time for things. Besides that, like I said, I'm kind of in the same boat, just kind of like seeing what others think as well. How are other people's experience? And for the most part, I think that's it. The floor was kind of a little bit hard to shuffle on, but like I said, I don't want to complain too much because we're warriors. I was like, okay, this is very underground. I would just say the sounds, the floor, and it was a little hot. But besides that,
I saw the big fans on the side.
Yeah. It was tough. We were pushing through. And then I thought that there wouldn't be chairs. I don't know what your opinion on that might be. I don't know what your experience has been. Like, have you had some battles with people in chairs, standing, or just huddling around? But yeah, I think that those are all my thoughts.
So about the chairs, when I saw like the first story I saw from the venue was a one from the top. It was like kind of downstairs or something like that, or because like I saw people recording from a high point. So
for sure, there was that first floor with the chairs around, and then there was a staircase going up that I know FTS was recording live from, and there's also some camera shots from up there. So it's like a high point view.
Okay. So when I saw the chairs, I just thought, but people's just going to be chilling there? Is people going to be like hyped or hyping like in the in the border of the dance floor, like encouraging people and giving this atmosphere? Because just imagine you're dancing and just seeing all the people around you like this.
Yeah,
let's go. And they're sitting, when you see you relax, you just, bro, you gotta be there cheering up. And if you don't want to cheer up, let other people go first row, because that's for battles. Need to be, you need people standing on there or sitting, but no chairs. If there's chairs, person who's behind you in the second row can't go, or can't. If something happens, sometimes a big thing happens, and some people invade a little bit the dance floor because they enter like, woo, what happened, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And second floor can go in because there's chairs in front of him, and it's so with that you're just giving a reason why not to do certain things, because you're just sitting here and that's your spot, and here you need to be here. So this also conditions a lot of people's behavior in tournaments. And when I saw that, I just thought a lot of hype is going to be missed, and a lot of atmosphere is going to be missed by having chairs. Like, if you want to have chairs, have chairs. I don't mind. If it was up to me, I wouldn't put them at all, like no chairs. Then if this is like a big venue and you have like chairs but like far that go a little bit up, if you had like so incredibly large amount of people, then that's okay. It's like stadiums, people that is far have like chairs, and because they are far they can't be close, but people who's close, they have chairs. It's not like a boxing ring where people is just like sitting, and even though there's people like near the ring, like cheering up and hyping. So that's what dance should be about. Like, you can check so many dance competitions that I could say that I don't know if I've seen competitions where there's chairs. Like, probably if it's not the first one of the first ones, 100% sure. Like, I practically never seen, and I watch a lot of dance competitions.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
And having experienced people standing up and hyping and doing crazy things.
And those are the videos I've been seeing, right? And that's what I assumed too. Even talking to my friends, and you can see in my videos that I have the shirt that I'm wearing. It says ATX Shufflers. You can see people in some videos in the front row wearing ATX Shufflers shirts. Those are some of my friends / students that flew in from Texas. And then even in the other corner, I have friends. But it was a conversation before the battles that I wanted hype. I needed to talk with my people. I wanted to have my safety, that if I looked in the crowd, I want to lock eyes and get some hype from you. So we were on the same page about that. And my friends were adamant about getting in the front row. But then obviously I was the first battle, and my friends even said it themselves. CC Stamper was like, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to get behind you. So I just got on the floor, and it worked out. But yeah, we were all feeling that same way. And there was more hype that just wanted to be expressed, but everyone ended up being on the floor, and it worked out. But yeah, those were our thoughts on that.
Yeah, when you said that, I just want to be behind you. So that happens a lot in, like, there's people standing and someone wants to be behind you. They just go, boom, and put themselves there, right there. And when there's chairs, it's more difficult to have this movement happening. And as I said, for long tournaments like this one, that battles are going to take several hours, people just relax, and you can feel like the atmosphere can be going down a little bit in hype or in energy, because people is sitting. And if people want to sit whatever you want, but not right on the dance floor, like right besides it. That place is for people to be hyping and for people to be encouraging dancers. And I also wanted to ask, because I saw the video of the final video, and when they announced the winner, practically nothing happens. Like, in general, in the crowd, I just see you like,
oh yeah,
hands up, yeah, it's me, I won. Kento like applauding and giving you a hug. But then it's like nobody's moving, everybody's sitting. You hear some screams here and there. Then the screams go a little bit higher when just people confirm, oh yes, it's Ciara who won. But in general, it was very surprising to me, because I'm used to see competitions here in Spain, or the ones we did in Latin America and this kind of stuff. When the winner is announced, literally everybody just jumps to the dance floor and starts jumping. And like, this moment, it's what you expect, like, it's what I was expecting to happen. And when I didn't see it happen, I was like, ouch. Like, I felt like, damn, like, all these moments, all this build up, the tournament, everything, everybody there, the venue, like all this, that was the climax of the tournament. Like, who's the winner? And then, poof, no hype. And I was like,
I know.
Yeah.
I think it was a few different things. I know throughout the tournament, we were having a little trouble figuring out who the winners were, like counting the arrows. So for me, weird. As the rounds went on, I started to quickly count the arrows myself, and just like, did I win or did I not? So even in the battle, I just think I counted the arrows quickly and realized it was me, and that's why I put my hands up. And I know that everyone else is probably still counting, or if you don't have a visual of it, you're not going to see it. So I don't think people kind of knew right away. I just counted quickly because I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. But between that and, yeah, I don't know. I think throughout the tournament, people were like, you kind of felt like you couldn't really step in the box, like step in the ring. So I don't know if people knew they could kind of get a little hype. For me personally, yeah, I was tired, but as soon as I kind of counted those arrows and knew it was me, it was like, there were a lot of thoughts in my head personally. I just needed to kind of let that settle in. Even before the tournament, I was sort of visualizing what that would have felt like if I had won, and I was crying. It was overall, like, this whole experience was really emotional, and yes, it was very much what had happened, but there's a lot of, it like reflects on life right now. So it felt really good, but I just needed a moment to kind of be like, whoa, this just happened. obviously Hudkinto, that guy's insane and I love him to death. And then it kind of hit me and I like screamed a little bit. And I know my people were waiting right there and we were all kind of screaming for a second, like just happened. Yeah, there were a few moments of screaming. Like I think even before the final battle, I was like screaming, but I think people were, yeah, that's a good point. I think we're all trying to figure it out. And I think as soon as I hyped up a little bit, people were like, okay, we can scream now. So it was interesting. Really fun though.
Like people were like, okay, can we scream already, please?
I know. That was crazy. It was pretty chill though, yeah.
I can agree that tournaments, when they get to the end, it's a very emotional moment. And that also comes with education. You know, you need to educate people on how important it is a tournament, really. Because it's really important. People just think it's battling and people just think it's because someone needs to be a winner. It's not about who's the winner. This is more of a personal thing for the dancers who want to compete. But it's a moment to bring the community together, to spend some time together, have the competition, have fun. But it's more about the atmosphere. Some people might get angry because they lose, but if you really are more mad that you lose, that you lost, rather than happy or grateful because you got the chance to be with the community and participate, then there's something wrong in your approach. Like you're not giving importance to the things that are actually most important. Like everybody loves to win, obviously. Like I'm not going to deny that, but it happens because then you get people that lose, but you see them again showing up and giving it all again, and just showing up. And you know, like it's fun because some people here in Spain laugh at me a little bit because I got too many times second place and third place and this kind of stuff. So it's like, oh yeah, you're always second. But it's fun because even though sometimes I didn't win or I was close to win, those tournaments end up being one of the best days I had in my life, because I've enjoyed the whole experience. People, even though I could have won, or maybe sometimes I think I lost unfairly, some other times I lost fairly. It just depends on the competition, but overall I never get more mad because of losing than the experience I've just enjoyed. So that's something really important, and people should know, because I got told that many people were mad because they were losing, or how the judgment system worked. There was no ties. I was told that judges weren't allowed to vote for a tie, which is really weird and unfair. I think that no ties are allowed, and also like 7 judges counting all the arrows. It's just okay. You can mess up. I think it was your battle, there's one battle you sent me from like the 3rd round, I think it is, that I see J Styles was the MC. He says one name and then changes or something like that. Or I've seen videos, like I don't know if it's your video, but I've seen this. So that's also a little bit like those kind of things are like delicate moments. People it's waiting for the name to be shut out as a winner, and it's difficult.
I agree. There was one time where the crowd was giving influence. I'm not saying that the judges were taking the crowd's words, but the crowd was definitely speaking up, asking for like a crowd vote, and I heard people yelling different things, and I know I was like, and I think that goes back to education, right? Just educating everyone as a whole about the formality of this, and that's basically it. So I think that might have been between Laughs and I, which for sure, at one point I heard the crowd kind of speaking up a little bit, trying to influence, and in my head, I just kind of looked around and started shaking my head no, just to kind of, let the judges do what they need to do. But yeah, there were a few things. I think it just goes back to education.
And no matter what the crowd says, like as a judge, you shouldn't be paying any kind of attention to what the crowd's saying. That's why you're there. And the crowd should also understand why judges are there.
Right.
You can agree or disagree on who should be there, but you need to respect this. If you also want to be respected, if you get the chance to battle or to be a judge, you also need to respect. And asking for a crowd vote, how many people there was in the crowd that wasn't prepared for judging? Probably the majority of them. So it's just nonsense. You can shout out any name you want. It won't matter. If you're a good judge, it shouldn't matter what the crowd is saying or who the crowd is hyping more. I've seen so many battles that crowd is hyping so much one dancer and it ends up losing. And maybe because that person deserved to lose. That's why judges are there, because they have the knowledge and the ability to decide in difficult situations. Some of the times the other way happens, crowd cheers someone because it's doing better and judges decide the other way around, and it's okay. This can happen. We hope it doesn't happen very often, that judges are completely wrong. It's hard to happen, but it happened sometimes and will keep happening. But it's just, you have to take it. Once the votes are there, there's nothing you can do about it. So getting mad is just, okay, you can get mad some minutes, 1 day, 2 days. After that, get over it and go back to training. That's what I do every time.
Yeah. And I think that's an athlete mindset. Or that's a warrior mindset too. Just also put in the dance first. If it's really about the dance, it's not about you, it's not about me anyways. So yeah, all that. I think for the most part, in all, everyone's great. From my perspective, actually. So really proud of everyone. I mean, I don't think much people knew what to expect going in. I didn't know what to expect. And for me personally, it also has been a while since I've seen some shuffle friends. It was nice to see everyone. And I feel much closer to people. For those that I did get to connect with, I feel much closer leaving this experience. I will say for the most part, I was kind of, like I said, with my blinders on, focusing on the battle. And then Sunday, I got to play around a little bit. After the battle, we were at the FTS studio. I still was labbing a little bit. I was still kind of in that mode where I just wanted to dance in my lane a little bit, but definitely feel closer with everyone. I know it was like a great shuffle reunion, and that was a great part about it. But all of this is great conversation. I mean, I'm looking forward to everyone just like growing from it and learning from it, learning from this podcast, because it's great post conversation. And yeah,
it's like things from tournaments always should be discussed, always, nonstop, because you always need to get better for the next ones, and get better for the next ones. What you did, just
there's a few coming up, so that's exciting. There's a few coming up here.
Yeah, what happened, it happened. You can't change anything. You just can learn from it, take the good things, the bad things, replicate the good things, maybe do them even better, and the bad things, what can we do to not have them again happening. So yeah, that's very key. Okay, FTS done. I also wanted to talk about judging, but more about you specifically. You mentioned before the tournament that was in Chicago, the Styles Defined Battle League that you judged. There was also, if I'm not wrong, Sky, Lost Boy, and was there also Mix? I don't know if was it Mix?
It was in Madison, Wisconsin. It was
was Madison. Okay.
Close to Chicago though.
Okay.
Migs, myself, Lost Boy, Sky. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. I'm so sorry if I am.
Was it only 4 or was it 5?
That's what I'm thinking. There was 3. There was 3, but Sky was showcasing.
Okay. So it was
it was
mix
me, Lost Boy, and Mix
okay,
judging.
okay. So like, what was that experience as a judge? Because as you said, you FTS was your first battle, so you actually
Right.
judged before battling. So how was this like first experience, and how just takeaways and just compared to being on the dance floor and being on the judge seat? How was it?
Right. The experience for me, I learned a lot. In general, kind of taking a step back, the way I learn is I ask a lot of questions, and I'm a sponge. I just like to watch what's in front of me and try and do justice. So I asked a lot of questions. I asked, what are the things I look at? But also going back to judging experience, going back to like my cheer world, it's very similar. What I used to judge almost the same exact thing as far as like looking at foundations and technicality. I used to have just tons of cheerleaders go in front of me very quickly, perform a skill set, and I had to just decide very quickly. So that nature of things I was very used to, just trusting in my decisions, quick decisions. But what I needed to know was what criteria am I really like looking in on, and so really leaned in on the guys for that. And I have to say, I asked a lot of questions, and that helped me move forward in my own experience, maybe battling. But I think when I was judging those battles in Madison, Wisconsin, I was taking a lot of info from also the battle world. Just how is a battle even run? What do 3 judges look like? How do you call the winner? Just everything behind that. And that was a great learning experience. Leonette ended up winning that, and she came in with her beautiful footwork and her advanced T steps and everything, but she was really competing with some battle shufflers that really came in. And so I got to see those battle dancers that I were watching, the all style dancers. I was watching just concepts and textures and layers for one of the first times ever, just in general in dance. So I think that for me, I was like, dance is amazing. Shuffling is what it is. I've had a grip of the foundations of shuffling for a minute. So I think that experience for me opened up just the dance life. And I saw and witnessed just so much similarities across the board that really expanded my brain to understand everything more as a whole. And then obviously going into these battles here at FTS, the scorecards helped me a little bit. Like I said, I've judged a lot in the past, so that like my brain can accumulate and think about those things. Like my brain just kind of works in black and white in that nature anyways. But a lot of learning. I have to say it's a lot of learning. I don't know. That's where I'm at. I did some online battles like over quarantine, but I don't really count those. So FTS is definitely my first one.
Yeah. Online battles is like video battles. It's not actually like dance battles. You just record yourself and it's video against video. It's not actually a person then getting an answer because the things you said to me in your round. So it's a conversation when it's happening. You can interact with the other dancer in so many different ways, or you can not interact and just do your thing. But it all comes to the moment and what is the dancer doing. And when it comes to other styles dancers coming into shuffling, you just see how well versed are other styles into stepping into things that are not only from their dance style. And when here in Spain, when we understood that there was things in other dances that were common to all the dance styles, that you could do them whether you're dancing hip hop or popping or break dancing or shuffling or crumping or whatever's the style, there's things that are shared. So when we started working with concepts, like general dance concepts that are not from shuffling, you can start you start also understanding more things of other styles and how to bring and how to see things from other styles and bring them into shuffling, not by copying the moves, but by understanding what's the concept that is external from the step. And then you can come and put it into shuffling and say, okay, that's the shuffle part, that's the concept. So if you take the shuffle part and you put in a hip hop part, the concept is the same, but the steps are different because hip hop and shuffling are different. So when other styles, other dancers, they have a bunch of concepts, like so many things, depending on how much they've worked. They just change the hip hop base fundamentals by shuffling. If they're learning, they're going to level up way faster than someone who's just starting on shuffling, because the other dancers are way well versed in general in dancing than shufflers. Now every time there's more shufflers that are becoming well versed in also the use of dance concepts in general and are applying so many things. And now there's many shufflers that are not that basic shufflers anymore. You can see so many things, and when they go to other styles, you can see also them developing themselves really good, not only like repeating moves. So we really, like, you really got to see that it's not because the dancer, it's because how do they approach and work on dancing in general. If you go to any style and you see how they teach freestyle and how do they build their creativity and their resources and their tools, how do they expand these resources, you just start thinking, why don't I do the same in shuffling? And when you start doing that, you start figuring things out and like, oh, okay, we can do this too. Okay, let's go. And you just start doing that. And as the years go on, you just look back and say, whoa, man, like we've come a long way. So always having other style dancers in your environment will always be beneficial, 100%.
Yeah, that's what it was for me. I think my approach to shuffling changed and evolved. Absolutely. Because since then, I've been plugged in more just with all style dancers in general. And like I said, I've exposed myself more to jam sessions. Maybe I personally love the crump world. I'm interested in learning a little bit of crump. I've been working a little on the side just because I feel like my expression fits there. But being exposed to more dance in general, like I've said a bunch of times already, my background lies in cheerleading, and cheer and dance worked together in my college. So I would always look across the gym because we would have practice at the same time, and I would look at the dancers and I would just like practice their dances for fun. Or I made one of the dancers teach me how to do a pirouette because I was just so intrigued, but never at that time would I ever think I could dance. I'm just more like stiff and sharp, and that's why I think I'm so technical. And then when I went to Wisconsin, not only did I participate in those battles, of course, but I took dance classes from those people that were there. And that's also why I think, you know, success shows in my classes and what I've been able to build, because like I said, I've gone beyond shuffling. Shuffling will always be my bread and butter. I love it so much. It's going to exist in my life when I'm 60 years old, beyond social media. But being able to just be in those classes and learn different things, like that helped a lot. Just the approach changed. And so even coming into these FTS battles, it's just been different. Yeah, I'm really proud of my dance, and I'm still playing with it. And the crazy thing is I feel like I'm just getting started. It feels really good, and I feel good, but definitely the approach is what mostly changed. Yeah, I was like expanded and exposed to much more. And over the past year, it's been evolving and changing, and now we're here right now. So
yeah, it's always tournaments always are in some way an inflection point. Can be bigger or smaller, but pretty much all the competitions, I always take something out of it. Always. Like, it's very rare that I attend a competition and I don't come out with a new lesson learned or a new thought or a new idea or a new motivation on how to approach certain concept or idea or just anything. Like, any idea you can get, even if it's only one, that's worth going to the tournament for this thought. Because sometimes you won't get this thought until X amount of months or years later that you came with this thought in this situation. So I always tell people that go to events, even though you're not dancing, you should go there. Because I've seen many people that go, no, I don't want to dance. I don't know if I'm sure I want to dance, or maybe I get I get eliminated fast, and then when they see the vibe, they see the atmosphere, they just see the joy of the people dancing, they just like, oh, I wish I would have signed up. And they're like, we told you that you should have signed up, and because they didn't sign up, the lesson they take, it's I should have signed up. And the next time when they dance, they'll get a dance lesson, because some judge, they're going to give them some feedback, or their friends are going to give them some feedback, or any situation they might get feedback from. It can happen. But if you don't dance, you're getting no feedback at all in your dancing.
Nothing. Yeah.
So
I've gotten those messages. Yeah, I've gotten those messages already, just of people inspired, and maybe it just might motivate them to participate next time. So it's great. It's such a great experience.
Yeah. And also, I didn't comment this, but that's why I also think that all the preliminary stages should be in person, because you never know how many people will sign up because they see just everybody there and like, whoa, I wanna dance, you know? And also you get more people coming to the event, because if someone gets eliminated already online, they're not gonna make it to the tournament, because why should they? Just to watch. But if they got a chance, they might go, they might take their chances in person. And if they don't go through, that's okay, but they're already there. So you're having a whole lot more people in there, because you just said, okay, if you want to take your chances, you need to come here and take the opportunity. And that's the best, because people will have this opportunity in front of all their friends, all of their community. So everybody just will be cheering for them in that moment. So that's just a moment that is worth traveling for. And the whole experience itself is just so worth it. And now, as you said, there's more tournaments coming up, and it's let's see how they go. Like, what do you expect? Because you're also judging in the New York event organized by Nameless Shufflers. So what do you expect from this event?
You know, Kento's also on that panel. We have Matt and Meg, myself, and Chicken, and you know, we've just been talking in ways that, taking feedback from this past tournament, how can we show up as the best judges possible? How can we prepare the participants? How can we just make this process easy for everyone? So I know, just as a panel on our end, we're just trying our best to show up for the community, for the battles, both logistically, front end, back end. It's very organized, and so far, so love that. And I trust in myself, and I trust in the rest of the judges. There's 5 of us, less than 7. So I don't know the logistics behind the Mile High Shufflers, or I know Techno Collective by Techno Queens also having one coming up. So we'll see how those go. But yeah, those are coming up. I'm excited. I'm trying to, hopefully these past battles will clearly set some fire under people's butt. If they want to get active. It doesn't have to be so scary. And reiterating that point I made in the beginning, everyone's feeling the pressure. So what are you going to do about it? You know, you're not the only one feeling it, not the first, not the last. So just know that you're not alone. And, you know, what are you going to do about that? So that's pretty much what I was thinking.
And the pressure is real. Even the people who has battled most of the times, like a lot, I just still feel the nerves right before battling. I'm just nervous as fuck. Like literally, I have all the adrenaline. Thing is that the more experience you get, you just know how to handle it. In the moment you need to start dancing, you just need to how to focus. And it will just go away. Like I never notice when I stop being nervous, because I just know what should I need to focus on, and I just do that, and I just stop thinking about the nerves. I don't think, hey, how can I get the nerves out? I just think, focus on this, and that's it, and then I forget about the nerves. But wanting to don't have nerves, it's practically impossible, and you're giving so much importance to being nervous that probably is going to be an impediment for you to be able to get loose and, you know, have a good round and enjoy a little bit more. Because if you're nervous, you're enjoying less, because you're, everybody's watching, I should be doing this, I need to do something that is amazing, that people will go into hype and cheer me up. And you just gotta be present, and it's not it's easier to say than do, obviously, but I still get very nervous. I 100%. Last time I battled, I was extremely nervous. When I just get in mentally, then I'm not nervous anymore. But because I'm not focused on the nerves, I'm just focused on the dancing or the competition itself. But the first time you're dancing, it's nerve-wracking, and my first tournaments were nerve-wracking times 100. But it goes down.
Crazy.
It becomes easier to manage with the time, but you gotta show up. You gotta show up and get it. And this is also a thing that it meant a lot to me when I heard that. And it was from another dancer from another style that I admire so much. Every time I talk with this person, I get so many things and so many thoughts to start thinking more about more topics and things. And he told me he's been in really, really top popping competitions. He's a dancer from Spain. His name is Inox. And so many years ago, he told me, when I battle, I still get nervous. That means that this moment, the dancing is important for me. The day I don't get nervous, that is a problem, because it means that I don't care about the outcome, or I don't care about what's going to happen. So that means that I don't care about the dance. So being nervous, it's something really good, because it's telling you that dancing is important to you and you care about being here and this moment. So that's a sign that you're doing something, that you're about to do something that it's very, very important for you. And you should appreciate this, having this opportunity. And then you can handle it one way or another way. But having nerves, being nervous, it's good. So when I also got this mindset and this approach, I was like, you just approach it a little bit different. You know, it won't save the world. It won't save you from not handling better the nerves. But it's just another state of mind, you know? When you get nervous, instead of telling me, oh, I'm nervous, how can I stop being nervous or manage the nerves? I just say, hey, this is important to me. I'm here. I'm going to do my best. But it's okay to be nervous, because that's an important moment for me. And I've been preparing for this moment. So just do your thing, you know? Like, it's part of being here, being nervous. It's because you care. Be happy that you care. Absolutely. And you're nervous. So this part helped me a lot mentally with handling the nerves, 100%. So if it helps someone, just it helped me. So
absolutely. One of my first coaches ever, when I played basketball, she sat me down before one of my first varsity games. I was young. I was 14 years old, and I was being put in this game, and she asked if I was nervous. The fact that I even remember this means it's that important, but she asked if I was nervous. I said yes, and she said, good. She said, that means you're ready. And that sentence alone just stuck with me, because being nervous means that you're excited. It's just another way of saying it. So once again, how are you going to take that emotion back with you and transmit it through? You know, get your mind right and understand that, once again, you're not alone. Yes, you're nervous. Everyone is nervous. That just means that we're really happy to be here. We wouldn't be feeling that, right, if we weren't passionate about what we're doing, and especially if we didn't want it. So that's a beautiful thought in itself. So if you're nervous, that means you're ready. Yeah, you're excited.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very important. Very important. Okay, so let's leave alone now the the tournaments stuff, let's go a little bit more about all the things that you've done and you're up to. So I wanted to ask about the there's a song in Spotify that you have you're in the video, if I'm not wrong, like the
I
video
have a
that
few.
is
Yes.
you have a few. So I think I just have seen the one from T78, I think it is. So like, how do you get there? Like, do they approach you? Do you approach them, or like, what's the process of getting your shuffle video there?
Right. So my relationship with T78 specifically was developed a while back. And that goes back to when I was saying I used to just post videos organically, really engaged with him. I want to say 2018, 2019. And he's been supporting me since, before the numbers, before the videos were what they are now. It was just videos of me in my backyard dancing on my piece of plywood. And I just appreciated him. His music helped me through a really hard time. And that was just my relationship with his sounds. So he was nice enough to open up to me, and we just continued to grow. Fast forward to one of his song releases, Nesquik by T78 was really fun for me. I've partnered with him on a few of his songs, but Nesquik, it came out January 5th, 2020, I want to say, or 2021, I don't even know, but January 5th. And it was a really important song because Nesquik is actually his daughter's heartbeat when she was in the belly of his wife. And I love him and his whole family just because I'm a fan. But that was an important song for him, for me. And he trusted me in, executing that project and just creating content behind it. So he gave me the creative freedom. And that's one of my favorite videos to this day. And kind of grew from there. He's just supported my dance even when the FTS bracket came out. I sent it to him, and we talk in the DMs frequently, but that just started off from organic support back and forth. I just think he's really cool. Also just plugged in a little bit with his label. So I've also worked with Rob PM, and I'm on Spotify with him as well, and a few other techno artists on his label. But I think it just started from a long time ago. I just think he's cool. And there's some other artists too that are really supportive. So yeah, that was Spotify. It's just a conversation away and trusting in the content on his end. So I really appreciate him for that.
So like, when was the first video going up on Spotify? Do you remember? More or less.
I want to say it was 2020. Why do I feel like it was 2020? Because I moved to Austin in 2019. So no, it was 2021. I'm sorry. I moved to Austin in 2020. So January 5th, 2021 would have been the song release date of Nesquik. And that was my first one.
So
yeah.
I don't know
that
why.
that was my first one.
I thought it was earlier. I know, like...
Maybe. I'm sorry. Time is so weird.
Year.
I know.
I feel like I saw it around 2 years. Maybe. Or maybe it's 1 or 2.
I think you're right. I know.
Yeah.
It's been a while, like COVID and quarantine.
Yeah,
I feel like the timeline, I get so confused with things. I've worked at T78 before. I know there's been some other artists that I've created videos for and their song releases that I've also thrown my video up there. But honestly, that goes back to the artist. In my experience, the artist just has to submit that piece of content back in their media or with their label or whatever that case may be. But it was just my job to create and get it back to them in time for their deadline. But I think it was that long ago. I don't know what time I know it was January 5th because it was the beginning of the year and it was my dad's birthday. So,
So maybe on 2021, January 5th, maybe it's like 1 year, more than 1 year and a half. So maybe it was on 2021. I don't know.
I think so.
Okay.
I know I helped. We'll
leave it in the air so people, people can look for it.
I know I've done song releases on social media for a minute now, but as far as Spotify, I think that might have been that day. So.
Okay.
But there's a few. Yeah, there's a few on Spotify. I kind of joke sometimes, like the Spotify girl.
I also seen more shufflers get their video on Spotify.
Yeah.
So
Since then, I
we're,
had some
we're,
people reach
we're
out
taking
like
over,
how to
baby.
do
We're
that.
taking over.
We are. We need
Watch
to
out
be
for all
on
the
all of them.
shufflers.
It's really cool to see for sure.
Yeah. So I also wanted to tap in the performances you've been doing in the last years. First, we're going to go as a group, and then we're going to go with the solo or duo with like specific artists. So as a group, I know you got some festival gigs with if I'm not wrong, Cici, Sterling, Lala also on some. So well, like was it first the Heart Fest that you were more? Catherine was there too. Like you were more people in this. Was it the first one, and then you had some more this year in EDC? So walk me
Correct.
and everyone through that. So how's this gig coming out, and how do you organize yourselves, and how do you pull it out?
Yeah. So dating back to Hard Summer, which was last summer now, 2021. And that was fully between Say My Name and I. He's an amazing artist, and he took a chance on listening to my dreams, basically, to our dreams. And that was it. We kind of just went from there. The conversation started with what would it look like to shuffle on stage and support EDM directly, and kind of grew from there. And I have to give credit to Say My Name. His name is David. I have to give credit for him because he's the one that went back and had those conversations with his team. And then they went back and had those conversations with Insomniac. And those hard conversations started to begin. So a lot of credit to him and his team. And on my end, I was just in charge of leading the team. What the vision looked like is he had a song to release called Happy Pills. And Say My Name stays in the genre of more of hard trap, hard style. He dabbles in a lot of things, but specifically he had a song release and it was coming out for Hard Summer. So with the things lining up, it was a conversation around doing a shuffle feature / performance for his song. So we just planned that out. It wasn't for the whole set. It was just, but I'll take what I can get. It was an amazing opportunity. It started off, I was given the slots of 10 dancers total, and it was quick. I didn't get approval from Insomniac. I believe it might have been a month out, less than a month. And so I had to figure out the talent quickly. And once again, this just comes from my background in like cheer and trying to organize and delegate that. Even in college, I was also head cheerleader, and I've also just enjoyed bringing people together and organizing and delegating. So kind of leaning into my strengths for all of that. And so when it comes to shuffling, I just applied what I could. So developed this team, developed the choreography. We trained over the phone, over video, and we just did our best. We just did our best with what we had, given it was the first experience ever trying to bring up an organized team. And it was a first experience for everyone, for the artist's team, for Insomniac. When I was dancing, I had Pascal behind me. I had Ultra reps watching me. I knew what was happening in that moment, and I knew what was happening was extremely important. The person that recorded my video that I have posted on my page right now is a rep from Ultra. And so they loved it. And I have chills because I remember it so vividly. I was very proud of that moment, cried before and after, and it was very monumental. And so I think about that all the time, and it's really beautiful. But it ended up being 8 dancers only. 2 dancers had to back out before. I think a lot of people didn't understand what it was. And then kind of afterwards, I even asked some people and they said no to me, and that's fine. And I think afterwards we kind of like realized what was happening. And
like
I also,
what these people wasn't understanding. Like what was it?
I just, to be honest, I asked a couple people, and right away they just, they couldn't fully commit at the time, and I understood.
Okay.
But I understood that I needed commitment and I needed someone to show up. And then after the fact happened, they were kind of like, oh, like, man, I wish I would have done it. And I just think these things are important to show up for. And it was great. I'm very proud of the people who showed up. I'll never forget it, for the people for trusting in me, for the dancers for showing up, for taking yeah, for just trusting in me, period. And that goes for the artist, that goes for the team, that goes for everyone. We had our own trailer. We had the whole experience, and it was over the moon, and just having all of that. So that was hard summer. From that, I took that experience and started to build my resume per se. I had been building organic relationships for a long time. That's just like how I've been since college, and I've just leaned into those, and people that I've supported over the years have chosen to support me. So even in Texas here, I have a relationship with Concourse Project, which is one of the best venues in the US now. It's been open for only a year, but it's up there now with the other clubs. Even DJ Mag had a little poll running with Concourse in the mix. And
Mag always do.
right. It's great though. Yeah. The other festival gig for EDC, that was me too. I just pitched us, and I made it happen. I want to fill in gaps. I want to find solutions, and I want to create solutions for other people and just show them the value in who we are. So Hard Summer, like I said, I had the project was 10 people. It ended up being 8 people. And then for EDC, we just did 4 people. So that was myself. And then luckily I've developed amazing relationships with the team that I have around me. I just say team. We call each other our team, because if we need something, we lean on each other because we just know what we're about. And I know how they train. I know we can come together. So that was good. As far as everything on the back end, like outfits, preparation, that was all us. And I don't know if people will ever know how much goes into it, how much the styling matters, how much the food. It's like preparing for a battle in a whole nother realm. It's preparing for a performance and understanding the gravity of the situation. Like, you're about to go up and set the standard and show people, what this can be. And it's also important for me. I wanted the experience to be so smooth for Acraze, which is who we were able to perform for, I think is huge. And it was opening ceremonies on Cosmic Meadows stage. And I wanted it to be seamless for everyone. I wanted the talent to show up and us just be perform at our highest caliber. Both, we did a choreo, and then we also did freestyling. And I know it's a conversation around like freestyling. Well, okay, my opinion, I think I think the right dancers can freestyle and put on a show. And so I love freestyling on stage. I'm a performer. I trust in my dance enough that I know what I can give. So I know that I do that, and we all prepared to do that. An organized freestyle, of course. We would like go up, have our method, do our thing, and we would flow out because we see each other as partners. So there is so much strategy to it, but my goal was to just have it be easy for everyone. We look good, we perform good, we execute, and we're about business. And it went really well. So Hard Summer was huge. EDC Vegas was huge this past time. And then I've performed a couple times at Seismic Dance Event, which is here in Texas. Seismic Dance Event, like I said, I'm supported by Concourse, which is where that festival is at. It's a house techno festival, and I'm going to also be dancing there come November this year as well. And that's opened opportunities here in Texas as well. So actually in a couple of weeks, I'll also be performing at ILFest, which is a smaller festival in Austin, but for the first time, they're allowing us to do this. And then there's been many one-off performances that I've done in Texas because I extend myself. I try and show my value. I show videos. I've created brand kits of myself and just show them what it looks like. Stats, everything. So I've been able to dance for one-off performers. And I just also want to slide in this piece of advice because I get a lot of messages sometimes about, how to perform for someone like Acraze or how to perform for someone like Oliver Heldens, because I've done that as well. And I want to say that, those were great examples, and I feel so honored to be able to set. I also have to say that I'm a person that, we need to be comfortable enough to perform in those smaller environments as well, and understand that it might start there sometimes, and that's still where I dance. I've been told by some people, that they assume that a gig is too small for me, and I've very lovingly corrected them that there's nothing too small for me. We should be starting with our local teams, our local promoters, supporting those artists, and getting that experience in, because that's what it is for me too. If you want that experience, get plugged in. It's not as hard as people might think, or it's not so out of reach. So look at where go-go talent already exists. I think it's also important to be mindful of the talent that already is there and integrate yourself. Take go-go lessons. Learn how to not just have that talent as a shuffler, but how are we extending it and performing it, adding our arms, adding our flow. Can we groove? Can we move on those downtimes? Are you comfortable with freestyling to a set? So look in your city and look around you. How does the go-go talent already exist? And how can you integrate yourself? And what are those connections you can plug into? Because there's so many great artists coming into cities. I know Miami, I would be all over that. Like I said, here in Texas, we have great people that come around a lot. LA, I would be all over that. Little things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, and just, encouraging people to believe in themselves, to step outside of their comfort zone and just put themselves out there. This Illfest gig that is happening in a couple weeks, that wasn't me. That was my student from my friend. She made that happen, and she plugged me in. So now other people are doing it. Next week, there's a couple dancers here in Austin that are performing. It's not me. And I think that's great. I think leaders should create opportunities for other people, not just themselves. But are you good on audio?
No, I'm good. No worries.
Okay, yeah. That's basically it. I just wanted to, speak on my experiences and these great accomplishments. But for me, I just want everyone to know, like, my goal was to show up and execute and be the best person I could be, both as a professional person, like a worker, and as a dancer. Just know that, I'm trying my best, and also know that exists even in the tiny, tiny warehouses or the tiny shows. I am so happy doing all of them, and make it work. There's some shows I'm standing on a subwoofer, I'm making space for my dance. And it is what it is. If you want it, you're going to get it, and fight for your dance. But also be ready to show up. Like I said, take go-go lessons.
Okay, so many things to comment.
I know.
Going in order about the hard summer, it's what it takes. Commitment. When you wanna get things like this and you get the opportunity, you gotta commit. You won't get the opportunity or be given this space because what? Because you dance okay. Like, if you dance but you don't commit, you won't get anything. Or if you get it, if you don't commit enough practice, enough team rehearsal, whatever is the preparation you need, then you're going to show up the performance day and you're going to underperform. And then maybe the organization say, oh, this wasn't what I was expecting, so I'm not going to give the space to them or to something similar, because I don't want to risk my reputation or my space, or I can give the space to other people, other dancers who might be more committed. So it's always easier to say, oh, if I knew it was this, I would have committed. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith and say, oh, I'm gonna trust this project. If it goes good, let's go. And if it doesn't, so it doesn't. But sometimes
that's exactly it.
You have to take this. If you trust and if you have faith in yourself and that shuffling is going to get into more stages and get more opportunities, you gotta take this leap of faith and just sometimes it will pay off. Some other it won't. But in your case, it did, and it went nice, and you got that gig, and it was very cool. And as you said, there was important people watching over there, no? Yeah. So,
yep.
So
I knew it.
What's happening there.
Before, during, after, I knew the impact it had, and I'm just happy that we've seen other opportunities arise, because sometimes it's just about showing other people what's possible, because and that's to myself, I don't always fully believe in myself, right? I don't know. I'm sure other people can relate, but it's sometimes doing something that's never been done before can be really scary. So you're exactly right about the risk and the chance that we took. So that's why I feel super grateful for everyone for believing in the project and the girls believing in me. So yeah, it was a risk. It paid off though, and I'm excited about it. Been a grind.
And then also about the thing you said about preparing for a performance, like choreographing or freestyling. Even though I'm very aware that, to me, if you want to really develop your style, you need to go freestyle. If I gotta do a show, I'm going to create mostly choreography, because I know, like, you can let your freestyle capabilities take over in some moments or for something in a specific, or if it's a freestyle environment. But if it's a performance environment, a show environment, there's so many things you need to practice, because usually this is a show. You need to nail it 100%. There's no room for failure. You can fail, but you better not fail. Like, if you can avoid it on performance, you will. And if you do, you'll learn. You'll learn that you need to practice more, or what things you shouldn't have done the way you did it.
Right.
But you can throw some freestyle moments in it. If you have like the way you transition to some part of the show, you can have some like short freestyles blended in with, like we did that. We also did on stage performances, and we did that. But 95% of the show is choreography. You know, it's all planned. Mm-hmm. We all know what's going to happen. Even the freestyle parts, we kind of know what we're going to do. Like, maybe there's like 4 or 8 counts that is freestyle, but you know what's happening in the 8. This dancer in the 8 is doing this move to transition with the next person. So there's so many things that you need to have practiced and need to have talked about, you know? So the thing is that the more you know about the style, the more creative you'll be creating choreos, because you have more ideas. If you know how to come up with things when you freestyle, you just have more time there, because you're sitting there, you do a move, you can stop. Okay, from here, where do we go? Or what possibilities do we have in this position? Yeah, it's not about only chaining, step, 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 pam, 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 and that's like a easy combo. Sometimes you gotta, okay, from this position or this other position, or now we're in the air. How do we land? Do we land 2 feet, 1 foot, and then shuffle, and then or slide? So there's so many possibilities, and you need to be open to so many things, and adapt very fast, and be able to tweak so many things without having a hard time like thinking about a lot of the steps. Thing is that if you're used to do only choreographies and you learn only out of choreographies, you'll be used only to do the steps you do in the choreographies you're used to. If you're not used to work with tools to just make little tweaks in all the aspects of the steps, then you won't be able to control that much everything that happens. And then when you're creating choreography, you'll be able to adapt so much easier and learn so much faster and understand what's happening mentally so much faster, because you got the knowledge and you understand what's happening in the steps, or how can you transition or place your body weight so you can nail it, you know? So I could say that the majority of the choreos I see on Instagram, on social media, are pretty much the same all the time. It's not that nobody it's not that you're doing the exact choreography all the time, but you see the same steps many times for many songs. And it's not that it's wrong. Like, we have some fundamentals that we need to, that it's obvious that it's going to be there in so many situations. But sometimes it's because people don't think that much in how can we create something new, or they think about a move instead of developing what they already know. They just think, we need to get new moves, or as you said, we need to get go-go classes or any other kind of performance classes. Maybe you do, it will help you, but also what helps a lot to create better performances in your style, it's studying more the style, getting to know more things, get classes from the top people in your field that you think they can help you become that. Like, is there people that is doing things that you don't want to that you don't know how to do or don't understand how they're thinking that, ask them. Are they doing classes? Are they doing, like, what are they doing? What are they thinking? They're getting there and you're not, so they know something you don't, you know? So this is the way it happens. When you see other dance styles, other dancers from other styles, they know things you don't, so go ask them, you know? So it all works like this. Just ask, and usually when you ask, people just say, like, they love to get asked the things they know and they're good about. So they're more than happy to share most of the times. So to me, if you're performing shuffling, you need to study the style. Like, shuffling or the style it is, like, it doesn't matter. You need to study the style and become, and if you're working professionally in the style, whether it's freestyling, teaching, or performing, you just gotta take it very seriously, because it's your main craft. So you need to become the best version you can for yourself, to truly, and be aware that you're committed 100% with the style. Then you also gotta work with your team, you know. You also need conversations and some dynamics on how to work with the team, how to have conversations, how to go over certain topics, or how can you talk about the musicality or the transitions, or, you know, or as you said, being on time, or like working your schedules. Like, there's so many things when it comes to group choreographies that are from outside the dance part too. You know, how do you communicate with others, the relationship you have with the team, what are their priorities, because depending on their priorities, they're going to commit more, commit less, or they're not going to spend that extra time working on the style, and you will do it. So I also had these kind of problems when I had when I was in the crew that we were performing, and our crew just ended up stopping doing it. Now it's inactive. We don't do anything, but it got to that point because of this, because different goals, people were committing at different levels. Some people wanted to work a lot on the style, some other weren't doing that, and there's nothing wrong. You know, everybody got their life, everybody got their priorities and decision. You just gotta make sure everybody is on the same page, because not, there's going to be different requirements. Some other people will want to do this performance level. Some other people will only be able to get this, even though they want to get here, they can't. Even though they get their 100%, they can't, because maybe they need 1 year more working on the style to get there. And maybe in that year, you even raise the bar even more. So it's difficult, and working with groups is difficult, and there's so many things you can tap into that can be improved and worked on. But definitely on performances, choreography is the way to go, mostly. Thing is, it's not the same doing a specific show for a song that you already know, like you said, with Say My Name, rather than if you're doing what the Ultra Hype Squad was doing, that they were like more, they had routines that they were doing that routines for so many different songs. So it would be like a more basic routine that it can fit easily in any song, rather than, maybe you do specific musicality because you know, you have a show. You know, it's not like your like animation or cheering up the atmosphere with some routines. You're doing a show. You know the song, you know the second you go in, you know the second you go out, and that's your performance. So there's so many things in performance that are that require a lot of attention and dedication to. It's not only that, shuffling is freestyle and that's it. Okay, it's born out of freestyle, and there's a big freestyle thing, but if you want to take it to stages, you also got to adapt shuffling to performances. But you also, I think that also needs to come from within the dancers, that they want to raise the bar in shuffling performance. So I think that in general, most people that do choreographies and performances, from my perspective, I think they're not aiming high enough in how much can develop their style, because some people could be doing way better. Like, everybody can always do better, but I think people should be aiming for a bit more. And if it's uncertainty and you don't know things or where to focus on in the style, just see who's doing better than you in the style. There's always someone better, at least in an aspect, maybe not on everything, But in some aspect, there's always that is better than you. You can be better at in some aspects than other people. That 100%, there's always better than you, someone better than you on at least one aspect of dancing. So you can always ask and get ideas and see how you can improve. So that's how I think it should be approached when it comes to professional performing.
Right. I think just knowing that there's a lot to learn and know on that end is important because, like I said, I'm asked good questions, but sometimes I kind of redirect people to maybe what they really want to ask, or I try and help them with advice on maybe something more entry level that might make more sense. And so sometimes maybe just getting people to ask the right questions too. Mm-hmm. And also just when it comes to performing, I've been in situations where I've curated what I'm doing with the artist. So I know timestamps and I know what songs they want me to highlight. Sometimes there is no plan. And so things change. So being adaptable is extremely important, like you said, because anything can happen. So much can go into it. And in that way, everyone is also learning, even the DJ. And then also, just like a tidbit, it's also interesting that we're getting into a time where artists are starting to have opinions. So I've brought back talent to a couple artists and they've told me what they like and don't like. And so and also it's important how we carry ourselves on social media. All of the above, just holding ourselves professional and staying true to your dance and just making sure that you're well-rounded and just be ready to represent yourself, but also be ready to represent an artist one day if that's your goal. And there's a lot that goes into it. So if anyone's listening or watching, I'm open if you want any advice or help on that end, but there's a lot to know, and just remaining a student in the classroom is important, and just training everything, a lot of choreo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also for people like us who has a lot of experience in many fields in dancing and shuffling, in that case, even us need to keep being students and keep learning things.
Absolutely.
Because there's people behind coming, and when they get where we are, we better be farther so we can also teach and pave the way and lead them and have their road and their path, the journey in shuffling, a little bit less tougher than us, because I feel that in so many aspects we're figuring out where to go or how to do things, because we want to achieve and do things that in shuffling they've never been done before. Maybe in other dances, yes, but the environment is different, because in shuffling we have festivals, we have so many things that involve the record and the show industry that aren't exactly the same than in hip hop or other kind of dance. And also, this way of contacting directly with DJs and just like this, not like this, but it's kind of fast, now with social media, the world works completely different. And and I just think that we need to also keep trying things, keep asking things to other people on the field that is performing or freestyling or doing whatever thing we want to do, that they are excelling in their dance style or in their niche. We also gotta get those lessons and try to make them work into shuffling. That's what works the best. You can figure things out on your own, but you can always shortcut some things and have lessons faster and and ways to reason and think about some topics that might help you get there in better shape without having to mess up unnecessary times many times.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Going back to kind of this aspect of looking at shuffling from more of a dance aspect, zooming out, both in the battle world, that exists in the performance world as well. So I even, the girls and I, we think about Delaney Glazer being Justin Bieber's backup dancer. What does that look like for us being the dancer for an artist? So just kind of putting ourselves in that same circle. If those dancers represent that artist, that's kind of us here in this festival world or in this EDM world. So kind of finding those connections and those crossovers in the dance industry in general and seeing how we can plug in correctly. So there's been a lot of studying of dance overall in general and the performance side as well. It's a lot to learn for sure, but it's very nice.
Yeah. And it's just for the people who want to perform or want to get into it, get ready to commit and to spend so many hours practicing and just repeating the same thing over and over. You really need to love the show you're creating. If you're not excited about the show, it's going to be a hard time because it's so many hours to then have it all in 1 minute performance. And you just really gotta trust yourself, the people around you, trust the show you're working on. The most important thing is the show always. It's not the followers you get or you have, or nothing of that matters. Like because I see so many people complaining about, oh, this person has more followers, that's why they get gigs. If they weren't dancing something that artists or the crowd is liking, they would get this gig only once and they weren't coming back. So if they're being on stage repeatedly, is because something good is happening or people like what they're doing. And if you think you can do better, put together a better show or something that you think deserves to be there and not these other people. So it just comes to, is your show really worth it? Like, could you create a show that could be really there? Because if you're not willing to do that and put in these working hours, then just like, why do you bother saying anything? Do the work. It's a lot of work, so do it.
It's a lot of work.
Are you willing to do it and commit? Because it's hard. It's worth it if you love it, and if you end up getting the opportunity, it's a unique experience, like being on stage and just seeing the crowd never ending. You know, like when you're on stage, you're like, whoa, that's a moment that you never forget.
Yeah.
Like this picture of everybody there. But,
thousands of people.
Yeah.
It's insane. But it's insane.
It's commitment, and you gotta put in the hours, and it takes a lot of time, and you need to be willing to do that if you want to really get the chance.
You do. You have to take yourself serious, and you have to take it serious. And so going all in. You know, I need to work beside people too that are all in. So I would rather work with someone that's all in, that might need a little bit of training, over someone that maybe, you know, has a skill level there. They just like seem really great, but their head's not all the way there, or their priorities just aren't straight. I'll choose the person and train them or train with them over that. So for sure.
100%. I would also make that choice. 100%.
Yeah. We need good teammates.
Long term, this person will get there. If it's behind, if this person is committed, it will end up getting there, no matter what. Absolutely. So I saw this quote the other day. I liked it a lot. And it was saying, the distance between dreams and reality is discipline. You know, so it's commitment.
Yep.
You want this. You are not there. So there's only one thing you got to do. It's discipline, put in the time, commit, and just stick to it until you make it. So so commitment 100%. It's the way to go. Okay, so for finishing the podcast, I always have like two questions. Well, so like two things to go over. This last podcast, I forgot about the first one. Like I didn't ask the first one, only the second one. But like the first one is something you want to share with the listeners that you learned recently that is helping you in any way in your shuffle journey, whether it's an idea, a move, an approach about something, or a DJ, a new music that you discovered that is helping you or motivating you to dance more, whatever. Something that you learned recently that you can share with everyone?
Okay. Something recently that I've learned, maybe from a classroom perspective, um, I love, I run through a lot of maybe from a classroom perspective, very black and white. If you just work on your foundations, you can build variations easy and you can just build on that. So I like to look at my dance as a house. You want to build that foundation nice and clean. That way you can build on top of that house. If my foundation is rocky and then things just might be a little choppy or not, you just won't build or accumulate as great. So a session with just running mans or or just your basics, I say, uh, it can be just as fulfilling. And then overall, I've been dancing for a little bit. We all have, and this overlying idea of just enjoying what I'm doing and enjoying it for myself is very important. So just reminding everyone of that, no matter what you're doing, if you could just enjoy yourself and have fun. And I know we all hear that and we're like, okay, like we know that sounds kind of obvious, but y'all, like, you need to enjoy what you're doing in this moment. The second you stop having fun with it, you're already losing. So just, I also like to think the more you know yourself, the more you know your dance. So I think this whole journey with yourself is it can be a ton of self-reflection. Don't be afraid to dance in pain, dance in happiness, dance in emotion, and just like stay tapped in for yourself, for no one else. Do it for yourself. And I think that I've learned that a lot, even before these battles, through these performances. It's personally been one of the hardest years of my life. But about a month before the hard summer performance, my best friend passed away. And one of the last things he told me was to follow my dreams. And, I took that pain and just completely put it through me. And I just wanted to follow dreams for myself and for other people. So I personally love riding through pain. I don't mind sitting in darkness, but things like that, just like stay true to why you're doing what you do. Like when your purpose is so strong, your how doesn't even matter. You're going to figure it out. So I think that's my little piece of advice for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That was
All good. Life is life.
yeah, but like now I'm sure that what like this message, it became even more powerful because it's a power message, just a powerful message just by itself. But now I'm sure it stuck to you way deeper, and it's something that
Yeah. I think about it all.
yeah, and yeah, about the foundation, it's so true that the more you work, just the more comfortable you are building new things on top of it. If you don't have a good foundation, you're not going to be able to build anything on top of it. And if you're a beginner listening to this, know that like myself or more people that I know that have been more than 5 or 10 years in shuffling, we still have trainings and sessions where we only do foundation only, and we've been in the game, like we know the basics, we know the foundation, but you just gotta keep
Right.
working on it, because if not, you'll lose it in some way. You won't forget how to do it, but you lose control, you lose things with the time. There's so many things you can work on. It's very important to always have some moments when you go back and repeat and just ground yourself, and okay, this is my base, here's from here is where I build things up. So that's very important. Like never stop working on your foundation. And the last thing, it's whatever you want to ask or bring a topic to talk about, like maybe it's a question to me or whatever. I always let the last question of the show to be brought by the guest. So whatever you want.
Maybe a piece of advice from you. I look up to you. I'm inspired by you. So I guess in my career right now, I have performances coming up, and I'm kind of on both ends, on the front line of performance and getting into the battle world. So do you have one slick piece of advice for me moving forward? I'm sure everyone could also bite off of it too.
In performance or in general, you mean?
Maybe in general, but if you have advice in performance as well, in general, like, keeping my head on straight, staying focused. Do you have anything to say?
for performance, the thing that I said before, I think would be like the most specific thing I could advise on, like, you know, being always curious about how can you study the style better so you can create better, and
Yep.
what is other people is doing that I'm not doing. If you see people doing things that you don't know how to do or they don't come to your mind, just ask them, how can I learn this, or what things do I need to work on to get to these executions or to have this kind of ideas. Because when I do choreos, I come up, since I have endless time to create, let's say like this, like you're not creating in the moment, you're not freestyling, you have more time to have ideas and to build ideas and to be able to try things and see if they fit or not fit. So usually when I create choreos and I have the time to create them, or I do choreos for competitions, like for 2v2 or 5v5 teams, like team comps, the choreos I usually come up with my team, they're usually pretty damn good compared to average choreos, because we have the time, and since we know the style, we get more creative. So for the performance side, I would say this, and for the like general advice, depending on what, because I'm also trying to make my way in, you know, like I don't make a living out of shuffling yet, so I'm also figuring a lot of things out. But I would say that if you really want to make an impact on the culture and on the community, you need to do things that fulfill you and help the community in some way, directly or indirectly. Maybe you performing on stages don't help the community directly, like something that instantly they got something. Maybe if they're close friends, they're going to get so excited because you are on stage. So maybe that's something, but more that to your friends, even though they're dancers. But indirectly, you're opening more things for the future, for the community. So maybe now they don't see it, but in the future they will. You know, now it's okay,
Right.
and maybe it's hard for them to see. For some people, some other know it. I know it, and I see it. And you know, stay true to the culture, and people will end up seeing that. So I'm people from outside of shuffling. Sometimes we speak about shuffling, and they tell me you could do this and this, and I'm like, nah. Like I know I will get more people, or get maybe someone wanted to be a little bit more interested in shuffling, but I know that it's something that people who are already dancing, they won't like that at all. It's not that they need to adapt. Yeah. It's something that it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not because we're close-minded. It's because, at least not the way this person is telling me, because I know the culture and I know how people respect the culture and they want to have a good time. It's very important that you know the community and you know the culture and know what's important for the culture, because some things that like in an event happening, you could do so many things in an event to grab more attention of people that is not in the shuffle community, but maybe some of these things make the experience less enjoyable for people who will be dancing, which are the important ones, you know. Also, people that come watch, it's kind of a show, but you need to create, you need to really think, instead of what mainstream things can I do in my let's say underground culture or shuffle culture, however you want to call it, that maybe battling is not super mainstream in, like, outside of shuffling, you know, like people won't say, oh, shuffling, oh yeah, shuffle battles are like super crazy, you know. There's rapping, at least in Spanish now. There's like so many competitions that it's getting super known in the last years, and they know it's like freestyle rap battles, and rap is getting so known and so many artists are getting so known because these kind of battles blow up, but they were built by people from the community there, from this niche, and they just made it so appealing, but respecting the culture. And obviously there's some things that are going to be lost, like some little things when they grow so much. But the question really is, how can we create what we already do more appealing to more people, if we want to get more people, so we can all keep enjoying and see our culture thrive and go
Right.
forward, and also people from outside find the beauty in it. Now shuffling is in a much better stage than it was in the beginning, when it was only raves. It was very associated like with drugs, very underground on the raves, like illegal raves and drugs and this kind of music. So not an environment that parents, for example, would like their children to go to, you know. But you have like dance studios where you also play this music, but you don't have like the drugs thing, and
Right.
and competitions and like battles like this one, but events that they know, people know it's healthy. It's like you dance, you exercise, you move to the music, you also do things that you love. There's a community. It's like your friends group. This could be like your hangout group. There's so many things that we can build in shuffling that will make the dance more appealing to more people and to ourselves too, because there's so many things we'd like to have that we don't have yet, like bigger events, more shows, so many things we could aim and we could want, but we don't have yet. Why? Because we're not creating enough spaces for more people yet, or we keep it super underground, or we do it that mainstream that not everybody, not like maybe not everybody, but the majority of people don't like that. So we just gotta find the balance of, hey, how can we make those things more interesting for everyone, for the people who is in the community and the people who is outside the community. So this comes for shows, classes, events, everything. Because if you do a show that is too complex to understand, people will say that and like, I don't understand anything. Like, I don't see how, for example, if I wanted to learn this dance, how could I be doing it? Maybe they don't go to classes, or they just see you moving and, oh yes, this moving, but I don't understand. So same with battling, you know, if it's like too underground, maybe some people like it, but it's hard to get more people there if you don't have like a big venue, good spot, right distribution on social media. It's just so many things you could be doing, in whether you're, as I said, perform, freestyle, organize, host classes. It doesn't matter. We just gotta figure out how to do things better to ourselves, so we as individuals can enjoy. How can we make the community enjoy with us, and how can we make more people join that community to enjoy all together? So that's the advice, like the general advice I would give, to stay true and figure out how can you make your culture more appealing. It's not about the culture that is too underground. Like, there's nothing too underground. Like, there's always a side that you can respect and make it more appealing to more people. So it's not easy. Sometimes you need to think a lot and just try a lot of things, and you will end up finding out whatever works. But it's possible, and that's what we gotta do if we want to grow.
I love that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your time. So that's been the Shuffle Podcast, episode 19 with Ciara. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your time again. And for finishing, I always let the guest say whatever they want to close the show. So, all yours.
I guess I just want to say thank you. I feel really grateful to be on this podcast with you and everyone for absolutely supporting me since I posted some of my first videos. I mean, the relationships that I have in this community are everlasting. I feel like anywhere I go in the US, I have a couch to sleep on, and it's because of shuffling. It's something that you can't even draw up in a dream book. It's kind of beyond that. So I just want to say I'm proud of everyone. I'm really proud of myself, and I think things are moving in a great direction. So everyone keep it up.
Yeah.
I'm excited for where shuffling's going to go moving forward.
Very far. I forgot to say you have Ciara's social in the description if you want to check her out and more things that are coming up. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.